Hey guys, what is up? It is your girl Karen, aka cakedbybabyk, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a full dedicated video to the Rem Beauty Chapter 2 eyeshadow palettes. I recently did a full dedicated video to the Chapter 2 products that I got in PR, and since we were talking about so many products already, I didn't want to dive too much in depth on these eyeshadow palettes, and I've gotten so many comments from you guys about doing a more dedicated review, so that's what we are doing today. If you haven't seen the first video, the link is down below or up in the cards. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If you watched my first video, you'll know that I only used this bright teal shade, which was the talk of the town when Chapter 2 dropped. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't too impressed with that particular shade because the color payoff wasn't great. I had to use an eye primer underneath to really get it to work. But let's talk about these eyeshadow palettes in general before we go into application. So here we have the Gogo Boots palette. I'm personally not a huge fan of the color story within this palette. In addition, 5 out of the 6 shades are shimmers, which kind of turns me off a little bit because I love an equal mix of matte and shimmers whenever I reach for an eyeshadow palette. Regardless, we're still going to try and use as many shades as possible in this video. Next, we have Smitten Kitten, and this one I'm feeling a little bit more drawn towards just because it is a more neutral palette. This one actually has 2 mattes and 4 shimmers, which I think is a little bit easier to work with, especially if you're a beginner. In order to test both of these out in this video, I'm gonna do 2 separate looks. We're gonna do one on each eye. I am going to be using an eye primer because we found in the first video that the color payoff is significantly better when we use one. I'm gonna zoom you guys in so you can see the application in detail. All right, so I have primed my eye. I'm going in with the Gogo Boots palette first. Like I said, I'm going to attempt to use as many shades as possible, so it might look a little bit crazy, but we're just gonna roll with it. We have a really nice neutral bright shade. I'm gonna take this next taupe shade and kind of run that in my crease. This one is very pigmented. Even with the brush, which I'm kind of surprised because usually shimmers don't apply well with brushes. Okay, we are going to blow that out with a clean brush just to fix those lines of demarcation. I'm actually gonna bring it out and elongate. Taking this purple shade next, I'm actually gonna use my fingers to see how it performs. And it seems to be performing well. I'm just gonna put that all over my lid. It's giving really nice, like, frosty vibes, and it's blending into that first shade that we laid down quite nicely. Okay, I'm not mad at it. It's kind of giving like late 90s, early 2000s eyeshadow vibes, you know, when it was like all about the light shimmer. I'm actually gonna go in with a small brush and kind of highlight the inner corner as well. And just kind of blend it into the light shade that we put on. I just feel like this shade is a really nice, like, inner corner highlight. Okay, and then I'm going to deepen the outer corners of my eyes with this last shade right here, and it is the darkest one. I'm just gonna tap really lightly. She's looking cute, but again, I just want to reiterate, I just don't like using all shimmer shadows. I feel like it catches light in all the wrong places. Like, I would usually do all matte in here, and then I would do shimmer in here to kind of make the eyelids pop. But we're working with what we've got. And last but not least, I'm gonna go in with this more copper red shade, and I'm gonna take it on my under eye. All right, it's given a little bit, but I don't know, I'm just not truly impressed with this shade. We did test out this teal matte in my first video, like I mentioned, so I will not be dipping into that one because I already know how it performs. I kind of want to brighten the inner corner up. Okay, this is what the final look is looking like. If I had to name the best shadows in the palette, I would definitely go for these 3. So we have the little taupe shade, the purple iridescent glimmer, and then we have this dark brown with kind of like flecks of red. Overall, my verdict is that this is a pass, so I'm really hoping that the Smitten Kitten palette is better. Just to keep it fair, we're gonna do a similar look and technique with this eye and the Smitten Kitten palette. I'm first gonna go in with this pink shimmer shade, and we're gonna go in with this brush. It's not really giving, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but this shadow is very chalky. I'm gonna deepen the crease a little bit, and we're gonna go in with a mixture of this matte dark brown shadow and this brown copper shimmer. I'm gonna go in with the shimmer first. It's also very pigmented. I'm gonna blend out the edges. I am gonna take my finger and try and apply this plum shade to my lids. That is a very nice shade. This plum shade is not as chalky as the other shimmers. I'm gonna go back in with this matte dark brown and kind of deepen the outer corners of my eyes a little bit. I also think that this would be a great liner color if you were to take like an angled brush and kind of line your eyes with it. I am seeing a little bit of fallout right in this area. Just gonna dust that off. And I'm actually gonna take this soft like petal pink matte right here, and we're just gonna kind of diffuse those edges and make it look a little bit more blended. I think this will also help in mattifying the shimmer shades a little bit more. And last but not least, I'm gonna dip into this very dark, almost black brown shade, and it kind of has hints of like red cherry shimmer in there. We're gonna run this on our lower lash line. And I'm also going to run this on the outer corners of the lid as well. I just want to deepen this very slightly. I'm gonna try and build up this pink shade to make it pop just slightly. And I'm gonna bring out the shadow a little bit more to kind of match the style that we did on the other eye. Whew, okay, that was a lot, but now I kind of want to do a little rundown of the types of looks that you guys can do with each of these palettes. So let's talk Gogo boots first. I can see this teal shade being a great inner corner highlight for a pop of color. This more red copper shade would look gorgeous just washed all over the lid. The same goes for this taupe shade right here, and you can deepen it with this more chocolatey brown shimmer. Honestly, you can use any of these shades right here to just wash all over the lid, and you can deepen your crease with this taupe shade and that chocolatey shade right there. Now on to Smitten Kitten. Let's talk about the lighter shades first. So of course you can always do these pale pinks, the matte and the shimmer just washed all over the lid for just a nice flush of color. The same goes for this more plum shade right here. If you want to deepen it, you certainly can with this chocolate matte shadow and the shimmer. You can also go full smoky with these two shades right here. I would concentrate this more on the lid and this matte shade be more of a transition shade and a blending shade. Also, like I mentioned previously, you can use these darker shades as liner, and honestly, you can use this plum shade too. I feel like that would be really beautiful. Those are just some of my suggestions. I'm sure there are a million more combinations that you can do, but those are the things that I can think of off the top of my head. My overall verdict on these, I would actually pass on both of them. With this one, Gogo Boots, that teal shade was just not hitting right for me. Actually, a few shades in this palette just weren't doing it for me. And the fact that this has 5 shimmers and 1 matte, and in addition, that matte is a huge, bold pop of color, which I know a lot of people aren't that comfortable with. For Smitten Kitten, I personally prefer this one over Gogo Boots, simply because of the wearability and the fact that there's 2 mattes in here. But for some reason, the shimmers in here I think are a lot more chalky than Gogo Boots and the other eyeshadow palettes that I've tried from Rem Beauty. I'm so disappointed because I loved the Baby Doll palette from Chapter 1. It's one of my go-tos, and I think it's such a beginner-friendly palette with such a great color scheme. I don't know, chapter 2 eyeshadow palettes just kind of fell short for me. I know Ariana's whole aesthetic when it comes to eyeshadows is that it's not going to pack a punch. It's going to be very soft and ethereal and very like angel-like. So if that is more your style, I feel like you might like these eyeshadows a little bit more. However, for me, I like to go a little bit more bold. I love using matte shadows. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to pass on these. That concludes today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.